This video is a response to questions from several friends about the interpretation of Shane Parrish's clear thinking. Here are our responses for your reference. Question 1. What is the opposite of ego in the video? Knowing that you are egotistical, wanting to change, and not constantly thinking, I cannot be egotistical, as it makes it harder to break free. What is the alternative psychological state? Answer. The concept of ego is not extensively discussed in the Chinese world, possibly because we come from a collective culture with fewer egotistical individuals. However, it has always been a significant quality indicator in the English-speaking world. I understand ego as being overly sensitive to one's social image. For instance, if a company initially assigns a task to A and thinks one person may not be enough, so they ask B to assist A. For most people, this is not a big deal. However, if B has a strong ego, they might think, why am I being relegated to the role of an assistant? Even if they have more experience than me, you can't use me this way. Isn't this demeaning to me? Various sensitivities arise. People with a strong ego are particularly concerned about their position in a group photo. Those with an extremely strong ego might develop omnipotent narcissism, believing the whole world revolves around them. Ego is not selfishness. Selfish individuals prioritize tangible benefits, especially hesitating to share their interests with others, but they don't care much about personal image. Ego is also not synonymous with arrogance. Arrogant individuals overestimate their abilities, take unnecessary risks, and the risk-taking is not to prove themselves because they believe they don't need to prove it again. If someone with a strong ego takes on a challenge, it's because they feel disrespected and want to defend their image. Ego certainly is not confidence. Confidence is having genuine faith in one's abilities, formed by successfully accomplishing tasks. The difference between confidence and arrogance is that confident individuals admit they might not currently possess the tools to do something but believe they can learn. Ego is not pure self-love either. Self-love is regardless of how others see me. I like myself. Teenagers, especially boys, may have a strong ego, thinking they are destined to be the protagonist of the game. The opposite of ego, for those of us over 40, is thinking that being a supporting role and serving others is more commendable. We are already married and don't need to prove ourselves to the opposite sex. We are willing to give the center stage to you. Question 2. Does complaining have any positive effects? In what situations is complaining reasonable? If faced with injustice, does not complaining mean accepting it passively? Answer. Every emotion has its reasonable side, and I see complaining as an emotion beneficial for social cooperation. Humans are social animals, highly cooperative, but the flaw in cooperative games is that some individuals can unfairly exploit others' services. To address this flaw, we've developed mechanisms like complaining and punishment, including spreading so-called gossip, essentially discussing someone's dishonest actions. Complaints and discussions are mechanisms to uphold social justice and promote cooperation. Complaining is meant to bring about positive change. Given this, there should be a few principles for complaining. Firstly, do not complain about things you have chosen to accept. Complaining that your job only pays 3,000 yuan a month and is not enough is meaningless if you knew the salary before signing the contract. If you chose to accept it and now hesitate to quit, there's no need to complain. Complaining only makes you seem weak. Some people silently endure every unfair treatment without expressing dissatisfaction, but accumulate complaints in their hearts, grudge. This is even worse and can lead to health issues. Suddenly exploding with accumulated complaints over a minor matter can be highly destructive. In the face of injustice, either protest on the spot or don't complain later. That's strength. Strong individuals have normal cortisol levels and avoid stomach ulcers. Secondly, do not complain about objective things. The weather is what it is, and it doesn't accept complaints. Various accidents happen based on certain probabilities that no one can control, so don't complain. My uncle passed away due to cancer, but he never complained about having cancer because he understood it was mostly a matter of probability. Similarly, if you're discussing management issues within a company, don't complain about the overall environment. There's a saying. Macro is something we must accept, micro is where we can make a difference. Thirdly, complaining is best done for justice, not personal gain. Of course, you can complain for personal gain, but it's better not to. While I am a victim, my protest is not just for myself. It's to prevent others from being victimized. In fact, I am the first among many victims to dare to speak out. This way, you stand with a strong sense of righteousness. Question 3. Don't make significant decisions under the influence of emotions. Previously, when discussing behavior, why Buddhism is true, and consciousness, it was mentioned that emotions are the true decision-makers, with reason merely providing information. Then how can these two seemingly contradictory things be understood together? Answer. We're not suggesting making decisions devoid of any emotional influence. Instead, the key is not to be captured by a particular weakness, avoid being hijacked by intense emotions. Books like Behavior and Why Buddhism is True emphasize the biological nature of human behavior driven by emotions. A universal is, but not an absolute is, certainly not the ought we aspire to. We expound on these principles and invest time in practices to use reason to control emotions, not eliminate them. Let's use a neural network analogy. Each emotion is like a neural network for rapid judgment. The brain houses many networks, in a competitive state, a pluralistic government. Our goal is to facilitate fair dialogue among these networks rather than letting the loudest voice dictate. This coordination is the function of your prefrontal cortex. Imagine a delicious cake in front of you. Wanting to eat the cake is an emotion. But fearing weight gain is another emotion. If you don't eat this piece of cake, you are afraid of disgracing the host of the dinner and letting people say you are unsociable. This is another emotion. If you don't fit in with others, you won't fit in with others. That's how I am. This is still an emotion. At this time, the emotion of wanting to eat has the loudest voice. The prefrontal cortex aims to exercise agency over these emotions. Mindful meditation and emotional control serve this purpose. Slow down, decide, and see which emotion is right. This process consumes willpower. The prefrontal cortex is an energy-intensive brain region. Robert Sapolsky's Behave cited a study that provides a particularly illustrative example of the issue at hand. A group of subjects underwent brain imaging, while playing a small gambling game where correct guesses were rewarded. During the game, the computer system unexpectedly malfunctioned, preventing participants from entering their guesses. The system then provided a prompt, reassuring them that it was okay, and the answer was a specific option. All they had to do was inform whether they guessed correctly. Cheaters who exploited the glitch showed intense activation in the prefrontal cortex. They clearly struggled before choosing to lie. Now, what about those who didn't cheat? Their prefrontal cortex was remarkably calm. They didn't need to mobilize willpower because cheating wasn't even considered. When cheating, you feel jittery, and you must muster willpower to navigate through various moral dilemmas. Those who don't cheat don't even need to think about it. You don't need to ask me. I don't cheat. This is what it means to be upright for the noble-minded and regretful for the petty. Being a good person is easier than being a bad one. This is the significance of training a strong neural network. You want your virtuous neural network to kick in automatically, rendering the need for willpower obsolete. So, demanding discipline from yourself isn't about enduring suffering. It's about avoiding it, aiming to move forward unburdened. Why do we caution against using AI training methods to nurture people? Because you don't want to be a person who only operates automatically. You aim to preserve and enhance the comprehensive coordination ability of the prefrontal cortex. Occasionally, cheating in small matters may serve a greater good. You might creatively resolve the cake dilemma or, at a certain point, break the rules. The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People argue that sometimes rules must be broken, a level above the automatic neural network. In reality, a few violate rules for personal gain, most prefer staying within limits, and only a select few with power willingly break the rules. Similarly, being coerced by anger to regrettable actions is foolish. However, we can't claim to never be angry. Sometimes, anger is justified, and then we express anger. In summary, 1. Willpower is unreliable. If you need willpower to resist temptation, your skills are lacking. 2. Being a good person is easier than being a bad person, so consistently train your virtuous neural network. 3. Nevertheless, at times, we must transcend the role of a good person and become a more challenging and necessary, complex person. Thus, we retain the freedom not to automatically be good people.
If you feel there is value in this, please like, subscribe to this channel, and leave your thoughts or suggestions in the comments section. Let's grow together and read more good books.